You're listening to the Living Adventures podcast, a lifestyle podcast hosted by Ashley Milkey and Victoria Vance. Tune in for a new episode every Thursday to hear our honest conversations about topics like freedom, creativity, spirituality, luxury living, health and wellness, and above all else, building community.
We have real and unfiltered conversations inspired by our search to feel connected to people who give a shit about us, support our dreams, and understand our struggles. Our mission is to provide you with the tools, guidance, and motivation to navigate any moment in your life with the lens of your neurodivergent mind, with a community who gets you. Adventure on. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Living Adventures podcast. My name is Ashley Milkey, here with our co-host,
Victoria Vance.
And I'm so pumped because this is our first episode of the new year that we're recording in the new year. I just got back from vacation and I feel like I have so many thoughts, so many things to share. Yes, vacation was amazing. I think I should live somewhere tropical for the rest of my life and never have to work again. That would be an amazing vibe.
Vibes, I agree. I am tired of being cold. I love blankets. This blanket is very nice. I also really like warm places, and I like seeing the sun.
Yeah, seeing the sun was really cool. And it's weird, you kind of take it for granted. Like, I didn't even really notice that the sun was setting after 6 until I did one day, and I was like, oh my gosh, has this been happening the whole time? It's incredible.
You know what, like, last year being in PR for a wedding, because they don't do the time change, it showed me so much, because PR is like very much in line with Boston. Mm-hmm. How it's so much better, because like since they don't do like the shift, you at least have like the sun doesn't get up till 8 a.m. but then it's like you have it till like 5, 6.
Wow.
And it's so much better. And I was like, fuck. And I was there like end of November, because I was there right before Thanksgiving, and I was like, why the fuck do we have the time change?
Yeah. I really liked leaving at the end of December, because it's like the sun sets like at 4, but then when I got back, it was like, it's now setting at like 4:30.
4:20, yeah.
Right? So I was like, okay, it's not that miserable. I survived that piece.
It's like this, I don't know, I'm not a scientist, obviously, everybody, but December in Boston, like it starts going at like 3 p.m., but then the second we have the winter solstice on December 20, it's the 21st or the 22nd, I forget.
21st.
Is within a week, we get back up to 4 p.m. fast. It happens so fast. And I'm like, how does this, it feels like it was at 3 p.m. for so long. Like it was less than 4 p.m. And then all of a sudden it's like, boom, we're okay. We're at 4. We're at 4:30. And it like builds up fast. And I'm very thankful for that. I also realized I am really missing, and I understand now how to communicate to you that your apartment is not sunny in the nicest way possible, because, you know, my apartment, how I had the sun all day, is I could take little cat sunshine naps, because the sun was shining directly into that apartment. You don't have direct sunlight.
No, I don't have direct sunlight.
I need full fucking hours of direct sunlight. Every apartment I've ever lived in, besides living here with my mom right now, always has direct sunlight, and I will take sunshine naps in the winter, and that is what literally fuels me. And I'm like, I am craving a sunshine nap. So
I haven't had the luxury of a sunshine nap in the winter, I will say.
Man, I wish you would. I know you were depressed. I should have invited you over. You could have slept on the floor with me.
I would have cured everything. That vitamin D.
It is the most amazing feeling, getting on that warm ground, because like, I'll tell you all, my apartment, we barely heated it last summer. It was too hot the way the sun.
You know what's crazy though? We don't put the heat on in this apartment either. We have the windows open because all the other apartments around us are so hot.
Yeah, because the insulation and everything is pretty whack there. And so it heats the floor. So around 2 p.m., I would go and take a nap, put a blanket over you, and do a dark blanket so it absorbs even more warmth. Have your arms out, have a pillow, and I would nap on the floor every single day for about 30 to 40 minutes to get my sunshine. And that was basically in replacement of like a sun lamp, but it was actually, it was real sun, and it was so amazing. And with it shining off of the water, since we lived right on the Boston waterfront, it was so just sharp sun.
Oh, yeah. I just miss laying by a pool 8 hours a day, and that being my only responsibility. That's the sun I liked. Right under an umbrella, so you could be there all day. We played beach volleyball while we were there. We won 5 games in a row. It was incredible, and my recreational volleyball skills really paid off. I got the winning point many times. It was so fun. It was amazing. I missed that. But today we're going to talk about getting back into work. We're going to start our series on burnout. Obviously, we've been talking about burnout in many different ways in many different episodes, but we're going to hone in on this series talking with people who have experienced burnout, bringing on guests, talking about our own experiences. I wish there was a word. I'm trying to invent one for what is the opposite of burnout. I'm like, is it like a de-burnt out life? I don't know, but there has to be a word for it. And we also find it.
Looked it up, and maybe we'll just create it. But like I was looking it up of what's the opposite of burnout to try and do like this kind of like this source thing and start like figuring that out for us. And do you all want to know what came up? Not being burnt out means your employees are more engaged. And I was just like, that is not what we're doing. This is not what this is about. Shut the fuck up.
And it's because like people think of burnout in the sense of corporate America, and the problem is positioned as a problem for corporate America because your employees aren't burnt out. Guess what? They're not productive. So you want to make them engaged so they're more productive. But like it's not just a corporation problem, it's a human problem, because if you're burnt out, like you can't fully enjoy your life. And I cannot even tell you how many videos of influencers I've seen crying over the past month because they're tired and they don't want to film. And I can see the tears that they're crying are burnout tears, because I've cried the very same tears of, I have so much to do today and I really wish I wanted to work, but I have no will to work and I can't figure out why. And I thought going to the gym would make me happy, but it didn't make me happy because you just need a mother effing nap. Among other things, 7 types of rest, but like, yikes. It's a human problem.
Oh,
not a corporate problem.
To start this out, so there's actually a study that I don't think you know about.
Nice.
And it was in France, and it was called Les Burnout. I think it was done in 2017. Don't mark my words, though. Basically, in France, they were noticing all the employees were burnt out. Also in France, their labor unions are strong as fuck. So very different world they're living in compared to America. But what was happening is they're like, okay, they're really burnt out. Like, we need to make this better. This has become like a health crisis and everything, and like become issues. So they did this year-long review, and basically were watching people do the tasks that they had to do, and they're like, okay, go do these 2 tasks in an hour, just get that done. And then they had the other group, which was, okay, like, do these 2 tasks, and then you also have to answer emails, phone calls, and everything at the same time. And then they tested their IQ before and afterwards. The people who did everything and, like, answer emails and phone calls, their IQ scored 10 points lower than the people who are just doing that, because they were having to focus on so many things, and the human brain can only focus on 1 to 2 things. As well as, if you literally just smoke a joint, your IQ will only go down 5 points. So they're literally doing worse than smoking a joint and going and working. To my further point, then they were like, oh, okay, so this is bad. We need to have them not answering as many things, and they cannot be on call 24/7. Because it's like, well, your parents were cops, so this is actually probably a bad example. But for most of the people, like 20 years ago, like growing up or whatever, like your parents probably were not on call. It's like they left work and they were done work. Like that was it. Where now it's like we are all on call 24/7.
Yeah. No, even with my parents, like they leave work at home. Like even now, like, you know, like they're not on call like nurses. Like they can get mandated to stay extra at work, or they can get asked to come in. But like they don't bring work home. Like they come home, uniform comes off, like they're not thinking about their job until 7 a.m. the next day when they get there. But like it is very much true. Like even whenever I work 9 to 5, like, yeah, sure, I left the office, but if my boss texted me or if we had an urgent email, like I had to deal with it. It was like never you close the laptop, you leave the office, you're done thinking about the job.
So in France now, because of that study, it is now illegal to do that. You cannot contact your employers cannot contact you outside of work hours.
Oh my gosh, you know what's so funny is when I was on vacation, I was watching Emily in Paris, and there was literally a party where Emily like tried to do business at the party, and they were like, you know, we don't do that here. Like, you literally cannot ask me that. And I was like,
you literally can get a lawsuit against you for it in France.
Like,
because their labor unions are so strong.
They're like, don't be trying to work at the soiree. Get the F out of here. As it should be. Speaking of studies, there was actually one that I was researching or reading about whenever I was creating Burnout Breakup when it was going to be a program, and it was on nurses, and they were actually studying how to decrease burnout. And with burnout comes a lot of imposter syndrome, a decrease in confidence, like bad moods, all of those things. And so they were studying those things, and they put nurses in two different groups. They had nurses who did an online course to try to fix their burnout, and they had nurses who basically did like group coaching together, like in a community where they could support each other, learning together, talking. And the people who did the online course actually had more imposter syndrome and decreased confidence after doing the online course, and their burnout was the same, if not worse. And then the people who did the group and who were in a community of people for 6 months learning, exploring, actually decreased their imposter syndrome, improved their confidence, and got rid of a lot of their burnout symptoms because they were dedicatedly in a support community for 6 months. And like, that's so crazy because like, it just makes me think about when you're trying to solve burnout alone, whether that's by reading a self-help book or taking maybe an online course, I don't even know if that many exist to help with burnout. Like, it's actually going to make it worse. And part of me wonders if the online course makes it worse because it's like another demand, another thing you have to do. You have to keep up with the course. You have to make sure you're doing all the modules versus like a community actually feels supportive. Obviously, the study doesn't go into that, but I thought that was so weird and interesting.
Well, I would love to know, like, I guess more thinking of it is like, is it a course where it's just like, say, pre-recorded videos, or is it a course of like, okay, you get on as a collective call?
No, pre-recorded videos, because the other group was like a group. It was like siloed pre-recorded videos versus community. It was the same information that they were learning. So then it's just another demand. Right, it's just another demand because now they have to go do this thing versus like, in a community, like you're with people, so it feels supportive. And like, if you benefit from connecting with people and that energizes you, then that can feel more exciting to go to. Which is interesting because today's whole episode, we're talking about how burnout applies to demand and adaptability. So yeah, I think we skipped hyperfixations, but that's okay. Mine are just, my hyperfixation's pierogies, if anybody wanted to know. Every year between January and February, my brain says, pierogies are the greatest thing in the entire world. That reminds me of my childhood. My hyperfixation over the past 2 weeks has been this really, really stupid video game on my phone called Pocket Champs. They had the cutest ad on TikTok. I mean, like, it was the best ad I've ever seen on TikTok, and I was like, they got me. And I am now in the top 5% of players of Pocket Champs because of how much Adrian and I played. We literally played it every single day because it's just like so easy. It's like not a game where you have to think. It's like you get stats and then you press play and they like run and do races by themselves based on the stats that you got before that. Yeah. And now I'm like, I had a goal. There was like this Galaxy Queen skin that you could get for your little Pocket Champ. And I was like, once I get there, I'm quitting this game. I got there and now I'm like, I can rest easy with my top 5% of this stupid app. Took me 2 weeks to get there. Call it a day. Hey, I mean, I've played Animal Crossing again lately. My brain finally, I mean, this is a part of burnout. Ashley and I worked on a lot of things during the 2 weeks. Well, Ashley had 2 weeks off. I only took 1 week off. But that's on me. And during my 1 week off, I had many missions of Save the Podcast. So yeah. Didn't have that much time off, honestly, but I did. We were kind of talking about the burnout that we were facing during our vacation. And then there became a point where things started to become fun again in my life. And I was just like, oh baby, I've missed this life so much. And there was like, it felt dark for a while. It was just like, there's nothing that's interesting. There's nothing that's interesting. I literally just, I'm bored. I'm bored. I almost test drove a car, which I still want to go do that. I would have come. You should tell me when you go. I think it would be fun. I want to sit in it. Okay. I like, you have to like book an appointment, and I emailed them and everything, and they just never replied. And so like, I don't know, I'm just going to walk in there and be like, yo bitches, I want to drive this car. Yeah. Do it. No, but that's the same for me too. Like my first week on vacation didn't actually feel like a vacation. something I was thinking about a lot is like, just because you close your laptop from work doesn't mean the demands of you stop existing. And I felt the minute I got to Miami, I had more demands for myself than I ever would have had in my own office working at home, because like my expectations for myself are very, very minimal. I know I'm a projector. I know I need a lot of rest. But it was like Adrian hadn't been home in like a year. So it was like the tour of the grandparents. We went to every single grandparent's house. Every night there was a family event. He is a very large family. Every single day, 2 times a day, we had things to do. They were driving us places and driving me un poquito crazy. I was like, holy moly, I need so much more alone time than I'm getting. So it didn't even feel like a break, and I was like losing my mind. But Victoria and I did come up with a lot of good ideas. I found a lot of blocks that I need to unblock thanks to that 1 week of chaos, you know. But what were you going to say?
And something we also were both having at the same time, which was revenge bedtime, where we were staying up later to get that alone time, which is contributing to our burnout, but it's like we needed that time to like decompress. And so it's called revenge bedtime.
I love that. I'm writing that down so I can blog about that later, because that is literally what that was. I stayed up until 3 o'clock in the morning, many days, and Adrian would go to bed at like 12, and I would stay up till 3, and you're right, it's because that was the only time I had alone, and then the next day, I would be exhausted, and he was like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, I stayed up till 3, and he's like, why did you do that? And there was one day where I literally got maybe like 2 or maybe like 4 hours of sleep, and I had to spend the entire day alone in the bedroom, and like I didn't come out of the bedroom until like 3 o'clock, and Adrian's mom was like, what's wrong with you? Are you okay? And I'm like, my sleep schedule is so fucked up because y'all keep making me do shit and I need alone time, but I don't know how to say that in Spanish.
Doesn't comprehend. They won't care.
Oh my God, no. Oh, and then the worst part is like, on top of all of these demands, I thought I was getting a cold. I thought I was getting sick. My nose was a waterfall the entire time I was in Miami. And I've never had allergies before. Like, that's not something I deal with. So I literally was like, oh my God, am I getting a cold? But I was like, it's weird because my nose is itchy. My throat doesn't hurt. It's just like running. And it wasn't until our very last day when I took a Benadryl on accident on New Year's Eve. So my ass was sleeping at 6 o'clock on New Year's Eve because I was like, Adrian, I feel like I'm floating. And I was like, did that allergy medicine have like the sleepy time stuff in it? He's like, no, you're good. I Googled it. It was like, yes, this medicine will make you fall asleep. And I was like, fuck my life. What is my life? And it turns out Adrian's mom put these air fresheners in that she never uses because she wanted the house to smell really nice for us. And I was so sensitive to them that it was like triggering an allergic reaction. And the minute we left the house, I always told him, I was like, it's so weird. Like, whenever we leave your house, like, I don't sneeze anymore. Like, I'm fine. And then we go in your house and I'm crazy. And then like we confirmed it because whenever I got to the hotel in DR, like I was fine. Like my nose wasn't stuffy. And Adrian's mom called. She's like, what does Ashley have? Is she still sick? And Adrian's like, no, Mom. It was literally your air fresheners. And
damn.
It's insane. Yeah.
What air fresheners was it?
I have no idea. Probably some like Glade plug-in something, but I am very sensitive to those. It was no fun.
Damn.
I literally felt sick.
But revenge bedtime is, so it's actually, I'll talk about this. It's very common with ADHD. So there's a few reasons why, but common with ADHD, our internal clock is often not considered normal. So you're either like an early bird or a late night person. And it's just because you don't respond as well to like the sunlight forcing you to wake up. I personally do. And I know Ashley does quite a bit.
Sky's awake, I'm awake, baby.
We'll often wake up really early to get alone time, or you go to bed really late because everyone says the world finally feels quiet. I can get my alone time.
Yes, I've seen so many TikToks about that.
Which is why revenge bedtime is so common, one with burnout, as especially, I think it's even more common with like social and mental burnout is like the most, because it's like social. It's like, okay, I finally have alone time. Like I just need my alone time. I need my alone time. Or mental, because it's like, oh, I've been so mentally overstimulated. You can't sleep yet.
Yeah. I totally relate to that. It's funny because Adrian, this is going to make sense, and it won't in the beginning. Adrian's a Sagittarius, and I'm a Taurus. And everyone says those are the two most toxic signs that can end up in a relationship together, because Tauruses are, like, very grounded, very much home buddies, very much wanting routines. And Sagittarius are, like, go with the flow, go with the wind, always active, never in the same place, never committing to anything. And, like, in our day-to-day life, I don't really get that issue. But when we were in Miami or on vacation, I started to notice how different we are in that way, because like he could sit in the living room with his parents and talk all day long, never be a break, need a break, go. And I was like, I literally cannot do that. Like, I need to go be alone. I need to be away from people. Even like, when we were in our resort, he could stay up all night long till 4:00 in the morning. He could do the show, go to the casino, go play pool, go to the club, dance all night. And there was one night where I'm like, I don't want to go dancing tonight. Like, I'm really tired. And he's like, the good news is he's like, go with the flow. So he's like, okay, we can go home. But I was like, you could go all night, couldn't you? He goes, yeah, for sure. And I'm like, I just don't understand.
But I think that's also one, him being raised in a Cuban home, which is like, that's literally just like what their lives are.
It's a pachanga time every day.
But on
pachanga
second
is party.
I know. Well, I guess everyone doesn't know, so that's helpful. I was like, I know that.
She's like, she said, yo hablo español, thank you very much.
I'm with you all the time. But is also like, he's a manager, and so he's a constant energy source.
Oh yeah, so true. Yeah, no, yeah.
So even just besides like the little Sagittarius thing, like he's just he's
an energy being, and I'm just like, I'm a projector.
And you have the open sacral, so then you get easily influenced, so you need time to, like, decompress that.
And be a human by myself and be like, what are my feelings? What are other people's feelings? Like, what is going on inside of my body and my head? But it's weird because, like, when we're at home, revenge bedtime doesn't have to be a thing because he's in law school. So, like, literally he didn't get home till 10 o'clock last night. I have so much alone time. I love it. But then it's, like, really weird to put yourself in a setting where it's, like, nothing. Like, you are at the will of everyone else. And I was telling Victoria right before we got on this podcast is, like, this morning, it's, like, my second day back to work. And if you know anything about human design, we have, like, not self themes. It's, like, when you're not living in alignment. And I've been feeling really bitter about work. And, like, bitter is my not self theme. And I'm, like, really, like, oh, I don't just do this. Everything sucks. I hate this. Like, and I was like, ew, why do I feel this way? And this morning I was journaling and I realized it's because, like, I'm socially burnt out. And I was telling Victoria, like, okay, there's 7 types of rest. That has to mean there's 7 different ways that you can burn yourself out. And you were mentioning this before, like, we do revenge bedtime because we're socially burnt out. We're mentally exhausted. We need to do the thing that we know recovers us. And I'm kind of realizing, like, you know, even when you go on vacation, even the resort, let's say I didn't go to Miami, that's still a lot of social interaction. Like, we're hanging out at the pool bar, we're meeting new people, we're making friends with the bartenders. At dinner, you have to talk to people because they're serving you. Like, there's not really a moment where it's like peace and quiet. Like, it was amazing. I swear to God, if a person saw me at that resort, they were asking me what I need. Like, there was always people asking you what you wanted to drink. They would bring you anything, which was amazing, but also socially exhausting. So you have to be on and you have to talk to people. And then, like, I was like, wow, I guess I am socially burnt out and I have to figure out what that looks like to decompress and, like, reintegrate back into my normal life.
And so something that, like, I kind of brought up when we were talking about that is, when Ashley was still away, is I was seeing so many posts of, like, okay, so people are going back to work and they're like, I feel even worse. So what I was telling Ashley is a lot of people were posting that, and I was seeing that, and I was like, okay, yeah, the reason why y'all are so tired after this vacation, which we kind of talked about, is like, okay, you might have gone back to, like, a trauma setting. So that can ignite a lot of things. That can ignite a lot of emotional burnout because dealing with everyone else's needs above yours, and just, like, being on all the time, so social awareness. And then mental of just, like, dealing with everyone's problems again. And, like, yes, you're not taking the mental load of what you do at work or whatever. But, like, maybe you had a hard time traveling. Maybe you had, like, a lot of that stuff, and that takes that. And so then you get home, and you're like, okay, I'm finally in my cocoon again. But it's like, now you need another vacation from the vacation. Mm-hmm. Because that wasn't a real vacation. Though like, it was a vacation from your work, it wasn't a vacation of rest of all of the things. And so now you need to go into that cycle of, like, okay, I need to recharge in those ways.
Yeah. Something I've learned by doing this is, one, we need to go on vacation way more. I'm obsessed with like the resort life being taken care of. Amazing. But also I think you have to go into a vacation with honesty about what it is. Like your vacation from work isn't actually the thing that's going to make you rested or recover from burnout. Like your vacation is that. It's like a transformation into a different life, a different way of living. It's about, for me, vacation is about adventure, about fun, about disconnecting, about like disconnecting from the world to connect with the people that I love most. And I know that when I go on vacation, my routines are going to be chaotic. I'm going to rest and I'm going to vibe and I'm going to chill, but it's not going to be the restorative thing that gets me like re-energized for work. Versus like when I went to Mexico to visit you, that was restful and restorative because it wasn't like focused on adventure and like, oh my gosh, we never get to do this. We got to live up every single moment kind of vibe. Which also I think just came from scarcity, right? Because like, oh, that was the first vacation I've been on in 3 years. That's horrible. And so with that, it's like, oh, we have to do all the things. We have to do all the activities. We got to make sure we wake up early so we can get a good spot at the pool so we can be there all day. And it was like, soak it up, soak it up, soak it up. So when you're living in that and you don't go on vacation, like it can't be restful because you never, it's like you almost don't believe you'll do it again because you haven't done it for yourself.
And I mean, that's how they even make more money at the resorts. It's like, okay, then reserve a bed and everything based off of your scarcity mindset. But then it's like you also have Adrian who, like, because he can barely go on vacation, you continue that scarcity mindset because it's like, okay, like I only get like one vacation with Adrian in like a year because he doesn't get that much time off and it's hard to take time off at this company. It's going to be even worse, like after law school, getting partner or whatever. And so that continues that scarcity mindset for you where if like you go do that yourself, like I don't think you would have as much of it. You might have it, like your first day or two, but then after like, it's okay. I don't have to get the best seat in the house today.
Right.
And like, you know, if I don't want to go to that event, it's okay.
Right. And I feel like, yeah, that's like, because when I went to Mexico and I was alone, I mean, like there wasn't a lot to do, but like the second time I went and I was like, oh, my goal is just to hang out by the pool every day. Like I was like, I'll go out when I feel like going out, like, you know, it'll work out when it works out. I don't need to be out there all day. I'll go until I'm done kind of thing. And I think like, yeah, part of it is because like I was alone and I'm alone with myself all the time. So I have endless time with myself to enjoy. But you're right with Adrian. It's like, this is our only time we get to be together for this amount of time and not have any demands and not have any responsibility. So how can we make the most of it? And like we did a really good job of like not jam packing our schedule. I think like the resort we went to, Secrets, was really good for that. It's not one of the resorts where it's like, and at 10 we're doing this, and 11 we're doing this, and at 12 it's like very vibey and like a couple things here and there throughout the day. So that was helpful, but yeah, weird.
Yeah, for the cruise that we go on, I guess all together, I don't want
so cruises, I think in general are like but you pick which ones you want to go to.
Oh, okay.
It's like things are happening all day, which is good. So then you don't have to live in scarcity because at any time you can go somewhere.
I like that.
And go watch things. Yeah. And like you can pick what you like. I know like I love seeing the musicals and the comedy shows and all of that.
I love the comedy shows.
Same. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so vacation, you have to be honest about like what you're getting into when you're going on vacation. And like me and Adrian knew that we would be exhausted. So like we came back 2 days early so we would have the weekend to kind of vibe. And I literally was a couch potato for 2 days this weekend. It was awesome.
And I think it's also like, so it's like a vacation. It's almost like, okay, there's these, and maybe neurotypicals get this, but like I know it's very common with ADHD that it's like, you know, tomorrow I'm going to wake up and I'm going to get my entire life together and I'm going to do it all. It's almost like the same exact thing of like, oh, on this vacation, I'm going to rest so much and get all of this. I'm going to come back completely like a new person. I don't think there is any vacation that can exist that can fulfill every single type of rest for you to come back and feel that.
No, and it's like, I don't know, it's like you're also not in your normal routines, you know? Like, I really struggled to find the time to get up and journal every day and meditate. I did maybe 3 times like the week we were at the resort, and it was really hard to make the time for that because we were so go, go, go. And like that for me is a kind of rest that I need. And I just like ignored it. Also like vacations and like whether it's seeing your family or going to a resort can be really triggering in a lot of ways. Like people making you mad, or especially like going back to see family can be extremely triggering. Like being in Miami was like a huge trigger for me because like that was like a chaotic time in my life where I was just like, felt like I was drowning and all those vibes came back and I was like, please no.
Y'all remember when she said she was going to move to Miami? She's not going to do that anymore. So I'm blessed.
No. No, thank you. I'm so good on that. I was like, this place is traumatic for me, so that will be a hard pass. The resort though was less triggering. I wasn't like as mad there. I was only mad about things whenever I opened up my email, and that's just like, why would I do that?
Why would you do that?
Why would I open up my email? It was like out of habit. You know, you have your phone, you're just like clicking things on automation, and so I had to stop. The minute I stopped looking at my email, the vibes are immaculate. But you know, you can trigger yourself on vacation. So, but you definitely need rest when you come back.
I also think...
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, you go.
I was going to say on the note that you said, like, I'm going to change my whole life on this vacation. Same thing's true. Like, I have no expectation of changing my life when I come back from the vacation. You know, people are like, okay, now I'm going to get everything back together. I'm going to get my groceries done. I'm going to get my laundry done. I'm going to make sure everything is in store. So I have an awesome week. Like, I did not do that. I rested. I was like, we're going to make sure that my soul is intact before we go do all the things that we have to do in the house, because like it's also overwhelming to come back after not being home for 2 weeks. There's literally so much to do, the laundry, the whatever, the groceries, like too much.
It's like a version of like the Sunday scaries, but like vacation ending scaries of like, oh my god, all the work that I have to go back and do. And it's like,
literally,
okay, yeah, it's like maybe let's, like, I would say if you're scheduling vacations listening to this, if you go on one this year, is try and schedule a vacation and then have a day or two before you have to get back into things to give yourself a buffer to still then do nothing and start replenishing yourself before having to go back into demands.
I can't even imagine if we didn't have Saturday and Sunday to like literally Adrian played video games all day, and like that's his way of like decompressing from the world. So he did that. I hung out on the couch, read books, watched TV, like, and did like potato time is so necessary. I didn't even do laundry until Monday. Like now my laundry is done, you know, from the vacation and stuff like that. Like you need that. You need it.
And it's like, we also need to evaluate is like, okay, why do I feel like I have to rush and get everything done right away? It's like your vacation clothes, you probably don't need to wear that this week. Maybe if you don't do that the day one, like that's okay. Or, you know, maybe you do have to get groceries. Okay, can we order them instead of having to go there if that's too much for you? Can you have a friend go get them for you? There's a bunch of different ways. And like, knowing like, okay, do I have to get this all done the first second I get back, or can I ease in? And it's like, okay, well, what if I ease in too long? Okay, now you know that for next time is like, okay, like by day 3, I need to get a little bit on top of things again. And like giving yourself that time though, to still like have that breath period, because you cannot expect everything from yourself, as well as like, we kind of talked about this before of, you know, January is still a hibernation period, especially so like thinking of the December to January vacations, is you do not need to come back and be go, go, go again because it's the new year and everything.
Yeah.
We're still in hibernation till March, y'all.
Yeah, March, the astrology looks so good for March. I don't know anything about astrology, but TikTok keeps telling me March is the month, ladies and gentlemen.
I went to tea with Ashley's sister. I hung out with Ashley's sister a lot since Ashley left me. And my other friend was in Guatemala, so I was just like, okay, bitches, what the fuck? And I was like, hey, Sasha, want to be friends? And Sasha,
I know,
like,
I thought that was so cute.
Because it's like, you know, I'm spending a lot of time alone, but it's nice to just have like one thing every 2 to 3 days. And I was just like, it's really helpful for me too. But something that Sasha and I talked about is, okay, so Sasha is Ashley's sister. She's actually like she's like a teeny bit younger than me. And Sasha's genuinely a really nice person. Like, just down to the bone. But that was triggering for me when I first met her, because when I saw people like Sasha or how they appeared, and like Sasha is somebody who is just like, you're checking out at a register and she's like, oh my gosh, I love those earrings. They are so amazing and everything. But it's like, to me, and this is my inner working that I had to work on, is I felt that was fake. And that she was just doing that.
You got Mean Girl vibes, like, oh, I love your bracelet. And then she's like, that's the ugliest shit I've ever seen.
But that's because that's who I was raised around and everything. And I worked on a lot of that stuff the past few months. So being around Sasha this time, I was like, this is a good test for me. And it was so different than I actually thought it would be, because then I was just like, oh, she just taught me something. I need to be more outwardly like saying of how grateful I am for things and how much I enjoy something and everything. And to just state that, you know, it doesn't need to be like that big of a thing. And like, that can be a natural way. And it was really helpful for me to be around that. And yeah, I told her that and everything. And she was like, oh, that's so nice. I get where you're coming from and everything. And I was just like, oh, this was fun. Yeah. But we went and got high tea and it was really fun.
That's so cute. Yeah, Sasha's literally the nicest. I always tell her, I'm like, you're the nicest person I've ever met in my entire life. I've never met anyone as nice as you. I literally am naming my children after her because I'm like, you're the one. You're the best human ever, because I am not that nice. Yeah.
No, it was really nice. She's really nice.
That's so cute. It felt
really good. And we played video games on New Year's together.
So cute.
And then everyone that we were playing with, our social battery just zoinked. And so then we all just got off and just went home and had a great time. And we were all just in a place of like, hey, I'm done. Nothing to do with all of you, but like the battery is zoned out. And that was felt so good to not have any like
pressure,
emotional turbulence, and like, oh my God, are they going to think poor of me if I do that? And it was just like, see you tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what I love about her too. Like when we came back, like I was like, do you have anything you want to do? She's like, if there's anything I want to do, I would have done it by now. And I was like, yes. So we did nothing. And that's what I love about her. But it was really hard for me when I was in Miami, because that is not the case. They do not understand that.
Because she was going to wait for high tea for you to get back, but then she was like, you want to just go do it? And I was like, yep.
Yeah, because they didn't have any appointments available when I came back. So I was like, just go vibe, go have fun. But I'm glad I didn't want to go to high tea when I got back. I didn't want to do anything.
Yeah. No,
I would go to high tea like next week. But yeah, so I don't know. There's a lot of demands that happen when you leave your home. There's a lot of demands that happen in life. And I think the thing that I'm getting from this is like, this is my big breakthrough, is like, if there's 7 types of rest, that means there's 7 kinds of ways that you can burn out. And just because you're not burn out from your work because you took a break from work for a while doesn't mean you're not burn out in other ways. And also, if you're crying every single day, you're probably burnt out. And that is at all the influencers I see on my TikTok. If you're crying because you want to work, but you're so tired and you're having a bad day. And I even see ones that are like, I stayed up all night last night. I couldn't fall asleep. My mind was racing, and now I'm really tired, and I'm trying to have the same schedule. If you didn't sleep the night before, you can't have the same schedule. And that's like, I had to do that in Miami. I wasn't even working, but I had my revenge bedtime, as we now know it's called. Stayed up till 3 a.m. You think I'm going to expect myself to interact with humans the same way as if I got 8 hours of sleep? Absolutely not. You need to adjust. And I guess that's about being adaptable. Like, recovering from burnout and learning how to rest and learning these 7 types of rest, like you have to be able to adapt. And obviously if you have like a really strict schedule and you can't adapt, like you have to find little ways to plug in the rest that you need.
And I think like, okay, so like on this, okay, if there's 7 types of rest, there's 7 types of burnout, is like, okay, so we know that like burnout is the umbrella term. And so it's like understanding what type of burnout you're facing, which we're going to make a quiz and everything for that soon. So stay tuned, everybody. There's a lot coming. But is understanding and dissecting which type of burnout you have so that you know the types of rest you need to implement and move forward with. And that it might be like, you know, like a lifelong thing. And so I was looking into this and it's like, okay, so if you're not burnt out, you're balanced in all 7 types. That's kind of hard to do on a daily level, like for the average person. And so maybe we're all going to have some types of burnout and it's going to ebb and flow. And so having that adaptability of being like, okay, I fueled myself this way. And there's actually like, I don't know if you were taught this, but like sometimes I do this with some clients, sometimes I don't. There's a thing called like the circle of life. And so it's like, basically it's the circle and it has like many areas of your life. And I'll basically ask my clients, be like, okay, so if like put dots on like how fulfilled you feel. So like closer to the center is like less, and then more is like you feel fulfilled in that area. And so ideally you want it to be a circle, like a perfect circle on the out. But it's like, obviously most people, we all do not have that. I don't even have that. And so how can we expand more outwards? And it can show you like which areas that you need to work on and like what you need to fulfill more. And that's a good guidance for if you're feeling stuck in this. Yeah.
Yeah. And I will say too, like, what a dream it would be to be balanced in all 7 types of rest. But also I want to say, like, just because you're not balanced in the 7 types of rest doesn't mean you're burnt out. Like, you can just be not rested. And so, like, you get to burn out when you're feeling emotionally exhausted, when you're feeling apathetic, and when you're feeling, there's literally 3 qualifications to know you're burnout, and when you're feeling a decreased sense of accomplishment. So if you're feeling any of those things, you're burnt out, and it might not be at that level yet. You might just get back from a holiday and be like, oh, I'm just feeling like really overwhelmed by the people that I interacted with. I'm going to go rest. And like, it doesn't always have to be escalated to burnout, because burnout is really, really scary, because that's when you're like, nothing matters. This is worthless. Like how Victoria was saying she was when you weren't working on the podcast, you're like, there's no point. This all sucks. What's this all for? There's nothing good to do right now. Like that apathy and that like decreased sense of accomplishment is the burnout, versus if you were just like, oh man, like if I was like, oh man, I'm so tired of interacting with people, like that was exhausting. That could just be I'm like over interacting with people and maybe not burnt out, but there's levels, and it doesn't. And
like there's levels in burnout, and I talked about this in a future episode of like knowing your signs of burnout and things that you might say the closer you are to burnt out, or if you're over and like you are burnt out. And so knowing those signs, like going back to that old episode, so that maybe, you're on the brink of burnout, but you're not fully there yet. And so, hey, I know those phrases and those things that I'm starting to say. Let me start integrating this stuff now so that it's not as long as a recovery, and, it's just going to ease you out a lot faster.
Totally. Yeah, because you don't want to escalate to like emotional exhaustion where you're like too tired to care because you've been caring too long, or where you feel like nothing you do is going to make anything better, because then that's where it's really hard to stick to your routines.
And that's where like you are burnt out, you are at the dry level, and you have to rebuild everything. And so we want to know stages before we get there, because that, like, when you're at that type of burnout is like, there's a lot of things that are happening. It's not just one. Yeah. And so like the influencers are a great version of this. And so it's like, we'll talk about this more, but there's a very interesting, like, hobby to influencer to burnout pipeline, because a lot of people will start posting online and doing all this stuff as a hobby. Like even Twitch streamers is a great example to like add into this mix, where it's like, they're doing this because they like doing it and they're having fun. But then maybe all of a sudden they see some action. Now they're starting to make money for it. Now they're like, oh, I can quit my job and like literally make money from this full time. Then you gain all these new responsibilities and everything, but you have to learn a lot of things, and you're learning a lot constantly of like brand deals and this and this and this and this. And it's a really hard time. But then your hobby just became your job, which is like, oh, that's the coolest thing in the world. But at the same time, you need to now find other hobbies that filled that spot beforehand, because then this hobby now took over your entire life probably. And now if you have nothing else to go on, yeah, your entire self-worth is going to be in that hobby and your job. And that is why you are burning out so fast.
Yeah, maybe we'll talk about that next week. Next week, get ready for the influencer to burnout pipeline. So if you're a creative, you can learn how to avoid it and what are the patterns of it that we've seen among my own clients and among people that we watch online. Any closing thoughts on anything we've discussed today?
I think you can take more than, one vacation a year. And I think let's change the term of vacation as not just going away and to even just to a resort or whatever, is like your vacation can be so minuscule. And I think that there's a quote, I don't really know what it is, but it's like, how can you have a vacation every single day in your life? How can every day be a vacation? Yeah. And so it's like, how can you implement one type of rest, even in this small way of just 5 minutes, okay? I don't care what you all say. I know you have 5 minutes every single day. I know you do.
Before you get out of the bed and the demands start, do something, you know?
How can you have 5 minutes of a vacation every single day?
Also, we're going to come out with something about this. Victoria doesn't know because I just made it up. But if there's 7 types of rest, there has to be 7 types of vacation, right? Now, this is where we get resorts involved, because I bet there's 7 different ways that you can vacation, right? There's the adventure vacation that maybe I went on, where you go to a resort and it's tropical and it's fun and you're doing stuff. There's like the restorative vacation where it's like spa days and relaxing and meditation and retreats like that. There's vacations in your home. There's vacations where you take a week off and you just vibe at home with no demands or responsibilities, you know? So that's something to think about too. Cause like, I agree, like we need to take more than one vacation a year, but not every vacation needs to be the tropical or whatever. Like there's even the city vacations where you go to a city and you explore. Those are exhausting, but you're like, it's serving your what is it, like spiritual rest, where you want to be a part of a community, part of something bigger. You're learning about culture, you're exploring the world, you're connecting with 2 new people, you're filling up that 1 cup, so it's like cultural rest, but then like you're depleting everything else, so you need different kinds of vacations, and that I think is also something to think about.
And these vacations all don't need to be a week long.
No, it can be 1 day, it could be a weekend, it could be 2 days. It could
be 3 hours on a Saturday morning
where you go to a museum.
Or you just do nothing. You literally do nothing.
Vibes.
Which is an option that most of us don't really, like, believe
in
available.
Sometimes.
It's
oh
really
my gosh,
available.
Yeah. Whenever me and Victoria send each other videos of influencers crying because they're burnt out, we're literally like, why do they have to do anything? Don't they know they can just do nothing? Like when they're like crying because they're like, I'm so tired, but I need to film and I have to do this thing and I have to do that thing.
I want to be positive on this page all the time. Look, and I don't mean this in a mean way. You have a privilege of taking a break. And you also, in a positive way, can go and take that break. And then if people ask, hey, where were you yesterday? Say, you know, guys, I had a really late night. I was really tired. And I'm so thankful for the privilege that you all give me that I was able to take that time and rest. And, you know, I want to help you. So, like, what is 5 minutes of rest that you can do today?
Literally, be the example.
All you had to do.
I know. But it's funny
because you didn't have to cry on social media.
No, it's like, I know. It's like the stuff I tell my clients. I'm like, oh, I really don't want to do this. I'm like, here's a wild idea. Don't do it. And they're like,
and honestly, I think those videos, they're just posting them, like, in a subconscious way for permission for them to have rest.
Yeah. For someone to tell them, like, hey, why don't you go take a nap? Because I'm sure the comments were flooded with like, thanks for sharing, go rest. Yeah.
They're like, oh, it's okay to rest. It's okay to take time for yourself. And they're like, oh,
and then she's like,
thank you so much for that heartwarming comments and telling me to rest. I'm like,
and she's like, oh, good. Now they won't be mad at me. And it's like, why are we trying to find validation in an online community?
Like,
no. So much no. But anyways, we'll talk. That's a preview of the influencer to burnout pipeline discussion that we will have next week. In the meantime, we have a really cool client story coming up. Victoria interviewed one of her clients, so we're going to have an interview of that for you guys to listen to. So we'll get to that now.
I'm so excited for you all to listen to this. It was truly amazing. I hope you all go follow her and everything. We'll link all of her socials. But this conversation is truly so good for people who think they need more discipline and that they need to be like more willpower and that it's all their fault and you are internalizing a lot of the things that you're going through. Enzi, who is the client, does a great job talking about all of this, and there's a little surprise on there in the beginning talking about that. So go listen to that. Today I have Enzi with me, which is one of my class clients. She is a singer. I'm going to have all of her apps below, and we'll talk about that. She also streams on Twitch. I've talked to her about her many times now on the podcast. our first session, when she came to me, I looked at this today, and it's so funny to look back, is she wanted to work on perfectionism, fear of failure, starting things, and you believed you needed a lot more discipline.
That's so crazy.
What we ended with, this is my notes from the last session, which is crazy of this turnaround, is she understood what she needed for herself. She understood where she was struggling and where her weaknesses and where she could ask support in her team, and was confident to do that and advocating for her needs and what she wanted when she was performing and what to do and making her shows. You were confident and ready to try new things. You felt like the ball was rolling and it's like you couldn't be stopped. And even if it goes another way, you were ready to go. And you were ready to take things as they come. You were reaching out to mentors for help, and you're confident that they would want to help and that they're there for you. You were not feeling as small and insecure. You were feeling confident in where you were, growing on Twitch, and that, you know, in the beginning you're like, well, there has to be like 100 streamers. And then you're like, you know what? I have 10 streamers, like 10 viewers the whole time. Like, this is amazing. And just like appreciating your small growth and the journey as it goes. We were just talking a little bit before this and catching up, and she talked about how she's getting comfortable filtering out rejection, knowing it's not about you. Talk about that. What is it like?
Oh my gosh. I mean, it's so weird to hear everything that I wanted to work on when we started together, because I think about our little intake meeting, I guess if you call it. Like, I was sitting on the floor of my apartment. I was nervous, scared, and I honestly even thought, I was like, I don't think I'm worthy of this, of receiving this kind of like one-on-one. I was so stressed. And like, looking back at it now, like, of course, is the fear of perfectionism a little bit still there? Sure. And like, do I still, work on a lot of these things? Totally. But I have found a lot more grace for myself, and realizing like that my first thought is just a reaction, and it's my second thought that is like the new response and like my true response to those things. So, we were talking about, I'm applying for jobs because we love the starving artist hustle of having a day job and then also your dream job, like at the same time. And so I'm working on finding a day job that will be able to support me as like an adult woman, and I reached out to contacts. I would not have done that. I would literally have just like, I would have seen that contact, despite the fact that I literally knew this person in real life, like have talked to them before. I would have just been like, I'm not going to bother them. Like, oh my gosh. But I didn't. And I bothered them. I just literally DM'd them on Instagram, and I was like, hey. And to find the job that I had applied for got filled before I even sent in my application. It was like a past me who wouldn't have reached out to that contact, who would not have thought like that if the listing was still up, that it was still full, which is just not the way that it works. Like I would have not heard anything back from this company and been like, I guess I wasn't qualified enough. I would have taken a lot of like internalized hatred, honestly, of like, I'm not good enough. I'm not, qualified for this job, blah, 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 blah. And in reality, in talking to this girl, finding out that it was already filled, even that alone, like not getting the job that I was really hoping I was going to get, I realized I was able to be like, okay, like no big deal. Like, bummed I did all this work on my resume for nothing, but it's not for nothing. I now have a contact with her. She said next time they open up positions, reach out and she'll give that referral. Like, I don't even need to do anything. And like, now I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I didn't get the job, but not because of me, not because I'm not qualified, because of like some other random factor. Like, I didn't see this job listing in time, which is, again, not my fault, because I'm able to like now take these things and be like, it's not my fault anymore, And
I feel like, I think your first version of that, from like remembering what we worked on and everything and what was going on during the time, is when you moved into that apartment, and you were having such a hard time because it was your first time moving like alone without your parents. Because like moving in college, your parents always came and kind of did it for you.
Yeah.
and having a hard time packing and having a friend who loved packing and loved doing all that stuff. And you had a hard time accepting her help to pack. And she genuinely wanted to do it, but it took you about like 2 weeks to be like, no, that's okay. And like, that was when you finally had that transition, be like, I don't have to do things alone. 1, 2, I can ask for help. And 3, I can reach out.
Yeah. And even now, like, because the where I was moving into was like a short-term little 6-month thing. So I moved again. I'm now in another apartment. And it's like, in doing a lot of work with Victoria, and then even beyond, like, just like taking all those things and remembering what we did, it's like having grace for myself. Like, have I been in this new apartment for 20 days and there's still boxes unpacked? Yes. But like, it's my apartment and I can do if that's the way that it works for me, then that's the way it works for me. Am I struggling with it? No. And even with asking with help, like, I was telling my friends, like, this is the first time I moved, even without movers. Like, we moved everything in our cars. I have a little compact car. My friend has a truck. That's the only thing we had. And it was an experience, but like, it's giving myself the grace to see, especially in these kinds of things, like, there's not a wrong way to do it. Like, I can take as much time as I need, and my friends offered to help. So I was like, actually, yeah, I would love your help. Here is the day that I'm moving, and this is the time. If that works for you, just come over. And they did, and my friends showed up for me, and it was like enjoyable and fun and goofy, and like, it's remembering, like, in the moments where I'm like, I'm not doing this right, I'm not packing these boxes right, or I can't believe I don't already have this done. It's that second thought of like, so what? Like, that's okay. Like, I'll do it tonight or tomorrow or next week. Like, there's no timeline. I can do this how I want. And it's having that grace for myself of like, there's no right or wrong way to do that.
And I've actually been thinking on that thought, like, personally and like with other clients a little bit lately, which is we often are like, oh my God, I'm not going to get all done. How am I going to do all of this? When it's like, we have to take a second and have that second thought, like Kenzie says, is, hey, when have I ever failed before doing this? Yeah. I've always managed to get it all done. I've always managed to make it in some type of way. Maybe it wasn't 100% perfect, but we're not going after perfection 24/7, especially if we're in like a tight little space to get it all done. Is, hey, I'm going to get this done. Yeah, maybe it's not going to be tonight, but it doesn't mean tomorrow can't be done. And it's like, if you kept shaming yourself all night getting to that you weren't doing it, it would have been so much harder to start the next day.
Yeah.
And so when you can have that second thought of like grace for yourself, like, it's okay, there's tomorrow.
Yeah. I think it's also worth noting, like, breaking down what perfection even looks like. Like, I think that was one of the biggest takeaways for me, was like, what does perfect look like? And when you do something like moving, for example, that really doesn't have a clear example of perfection, you take a step back and you're like, oh, actually, like, there is no right way. There is no perfect way. And once you do that, once you break it down, it's a lot easier to have grace for yourself. Like, I think really the only deadline for me, especially with this, is like, when my roommate comes in, I just want to make sure that it's sorted before my roommate comes in. They won't be here until mid-January. So like, I am like chill. I have some goal, like rewards for myself of like, hey, when I get my desk set up, I'll play some video games with friends. Like, it's an easy way to like have that grace and take the time that I need, because I know, like, my brain is like, I don't work like my mom works. You know, my mom she's on top of it and like slay queen, but I'm a little more chaotic. It gives me the flavor, you know, I got a little spice. So
it's like something like you say is, you know, like, there is no perfect way to move. And most of the things that we do in life, there is no, what is the perfect way? Like, it can be done a million ways. And doesn't mean one is better than the other. And as long as it gets done, and sometimes the thing doesn't even have to get done. If you wait enough, trust me, that happens. But let's say moving that has to get done is like, there is no perfect way, and it's going to happen as you happen. You know, your mother might need everything unpacked in like 4 days. That's
Mm-hmm.
great. She's going to make time to make that happen. You don't.
Yeah.
And so you're allowed to space that time and you have a deadline for yourself, before the roommates come in. And I'm going to get it done by then. And
Yeah.
until then, I'm going to still do other things. You still have a life to live on top of it.
1,000%. Even like I think in relation to like streaming and like dream goals. Because I also think it's like a lot easier for us to meet perfection or even be like lax on perfection when it comes to things that aren't our dream. Like, my corporate jobs and everything. Like even my family, my friends are saying they're like, "Oh my God, you're doing like amazing at this," and I think it's a lot easier for me to dismiss mistakes because it's not my dream. And I'm like, I should actually kind of like do the opposite of that. Or I mean not the opposite, but like take that mindset into my dream job because when it comes to streaming, for example, like I am really lucky in that I actually already had a lot of really nice equipment, like audio since I'm a musician, so I was able to create a really like polished product right off the bat. But I was talking to a friend who was like, "Hey, like, do you have any actually advice on what should I use, what shouldn't I use?" And even with the nice equipment that I have, I was actually able to say confidently, like, just don't spend a lot too much, like too fast. Don't have all the perfect equipment. Like, there are high quality streamers out there. There are famous streamers, musicians, whoever, who are doing their streams on like an old microphone, like on their headphone mics even, TikTok did that. Like people are still streaming with their AirPod microphones.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine. Like, and people like it does not matter. I think really is hold on. I almost lost my train of thought. Why am I on this path? It's like you don't have to be perfect all at once.
Yeah.
You don't have
And
to
it's
have it all polished out.
like something you said is like you're learning the journey more and it's like appreciate it as you go. And it's like, okay, so like in the journey is, hey, like I reach 100 subs, let me at my new microphone. I reach 1,000 subs, let me get a camera.
Yeah.
Like that's one way to do it. And like you can do this in any area of your life really. But knowing that like you don't have to go all out and you're not in that white and black thinking anymore of like, okay, it can grow as I grow. And it
Yes.
really doesn't as matter. And it's more of a mindset thing that you were like, oh, I have to have all the perfect stuff at first, or like everyone will know. And this is something we worked on is like, since you were verified at the start with
Mhm.
streaming because of what you did, nothing bad that she did. She just was able to like get like this contract and there was this special
Yeah.
thing going on. And she just reached out to somebody to get it is like, she knows that streamers take years to get verified on Twitch. And so the fact that she has it right out of the bag, she was holding herself back for so long because she felt like she didn't deserve it. And we had to sit down and
Mhm.
I was like, okay, so what makes a streamer verified? Like, what are all the things that they have to meet? Does the average person know that? No. I know like a few of them. The second thing is like, who cares? If they are pissed at you for having low numbers and being verified this early, that's on them.
Mhm.
That doesn't say anything about you as a streamer. Like that says nothing. You reached out and got into that program. You deserve that. You did a different type of work to get it. Not everyone takes the same path.
Yeah.
And being confident in what you did and what you had to do was scary to you. Reaching out to that person, you did not want to do that in the beginning.
Yeah, definitely. I think also it's I know we talk a lot about mindset shifting and I like try to avoid the word because I feel like it's like a buzzword
Oh,
that
it
people
is.
are like, especially with ADHDers, like being like, oh, like if I could just change my mindset, that's like people telling me to get a planner. Like I have a million planners. But I think like it is taking a second to slow down and just kind of embrace a new version of it. It took me a while. I still struggle with it. So like that's what I
It's a
guess I
lifelong
really want to
journey.
really want to reiterate is like it's not something that's just going to like switch one day and be like, "Oh, I'm good at this now." But like even with the contract thing, like I now a lot more confidently tell people like, "Oh, yes, I'm a partner through this program." Because then it's easier to say it up front and I can tell people then about it and actually have now shifted it to be like instead of being shameful of like, oh, I didn't do the traditional things, like F the traditional things. Like, I now am able to tell people, like, yeah, there's actually a way to get partnered in a different way. Like, look for programs like that, because especially as a musician, it was through music. Like, the musicians are desperate to break in any way. And there's a book I read called The Third Door, and it talks about that. Like, you can either get in through the front where everyone's trying to go, you can get in through the VIP entrance, which not everybody has the resource for, or you can find a third door. And that third door could be the back door, could be a window, it could be any way, like any way that you can make it into that show, into that concert, into where you want to be. It doesn't have to be the traditional way, and it doesn't have to be the like nepotism way. It's just kind of that metaphor.
Or like the paid way, yeah.
The paid way. Like, you are crafty, you are, capable and creative. It's creativity, like, that finds you in these doors. So even with, like, my contracts and my thing, being able to shift from, like, I feel shame that I didn't do it the way that other people did it, and that might make them perceive me a different way. Like, I've just taken control of that perception and said, actually, this is how I got verified. This is who I reached out to. And you should do that too, because I loved it. And like, see if there's space for you there too. It's way more enjoyable too, because I feel like yes. Yeah. I feel like I'm creating a community too. And I hate gatekeeping. I'm a anti-gatekeeper. So I will tell everybody everything of how I did it and where I got it from. And like, that's way more enjoyable to me, because it also means like, people actually perceive that as like helpful and not like, oh, she bought her way in, or oh, she knew she won, blah, 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 blah. Like, it does not matter.
And it's like showing that like you don't have to do that. It's showing others that, which you want. You want to help the underdogs. Your entire message is you want to help what? The losers and loners?
The losers and the loners. Yeah, it's still that.
And so you want to help find that third door. That's your whole message. That's completely on brand.
Yeah. No, and like, it is cool to look back at like what I wanted to work on in our first session and where I'm at now, because like, genuinely, I have so much more grace for myself in all areas. And I am like advocating for myself now in ways that like, I didn't even know that I could, like, just, it's a lot more comfortable because it is being more genuine to who I am and not having to play this like role, because that's where it gets exhausting.
And that you have a lot more energy to do this stuff because you're not playing somebody who you're not.
Exactly.
And so it's like, in terms for people listening, is like, it was unmasking for her a little bit, but in like slightly non-ADHD terms, it was more of unmasking anxiety and what others will think of her, and allowing to do that and understanding how much energy she was taking up in every day, thinking of how people will think of her when she logs on to stream, is exhausting. And so when you can change the narrative, instead of just like changing a mindset, is you change the narrative of like, no, this is actually, I am so proud of how I did this and I found my third door. I want to help other people find theirs. And if they can do it the same exact way, or they can find other ways that are still being created, then you are offering a jumping point for them.
Yeah. I think that's like, that's really the key. It's remembering that like, you're the one authoring your own story, and you get to choose how people perceive that information. Like, to the most part, some people will always have a critique, but like, if you just narrate it for yourself, it doesn't matter what other people kind of think.
Yeah, I'm going to switch that for you. You don't get to choose how people perceive you.
No, that's not what I meant.
People are going to perceive you whatever they want to, because people, like, I can reflect myself onto you, but you can also be a reflection of things that I need to work on. And so people will see whatever they want to see. You just want to put your best self out there so that you could possibly create the best connections to be able to further yourself and to feel the most confident.
Yes, that is what I meant.
Yeah. We're not going down that perceiving route, because you have control over what you can do. And this is like, I want people to take away this is like, you have control over what you can do, and understanding that like, you're not going to know the ins and outs of everything. And so that fear of rejection, that fear of failure is like, you know, with her job, she was so lucky, or the job she didn't get, she's so lucky to hear that the reason why she didn't get it, and it wasn't about her. And she had a little bit more control and the ability to let herself be like, oh, okay, not about me. And because she got that little bit of permission and she was told that, but if she didn't reach out, she wouldn't have gotten that. Not that she would have necessarily gone right away, because she has done some work, but you know, nobody's perfect. We're always growing. And so she can have a hard day tomorrow. She can have a great day the next day. But taking that as like, she understands what she can control and what she can get help for, which is what helped a lot of you succeed.
Yeah. We got this. I believe in every single person listening.
Well, wrapping this up, because I have a client to get to, is how can people find you, my beloved Kenzie?
Hi, everyone. My name is Enzi, E-N-Z-I. I am Enzi on pretty much all platforms, Twitch, Instagram, Spotify, wink wonk. That I am Enzi everywhere.
I will tag her below. Thank you so much for doing this. She was such a fun client to work with. I love her to death. And go check out her music, because she is truly amazing, or check out a stream or something. Yeah.
Yay!
All right. Bye.
All right, we hope you enjoyed today's episode. We love talking to you about vacation and burnout, and this is just the beginning of our burnout series, and we have big plans for you on how to help you feel more rested, more balanced in the 7 types of rest. So stay tuned. Also exciting announcement. We're going to start dropping solo episodes of me and Victoria this month. Our first solo episode of Victoria comes out next week. And is that right? Okay, yeah. Next week. And it's going to be so exciting. So you're going to get 2 doses of the Living Adventures podcast every week. One with Victoria, one with us duo, one with me, one with the duo. It's going to be straight vibes. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you go follow the Living Adventures Co. on Instagram to get quotes from our latest podcast episodes and inside scoops on projects we're working on. We have lots of projects coming out, maybe. What?
And join the Discord, because
there's 500
sometimes
people.
Things come out of there where in opportunities, so that you will also be seeing soon as well. So just stay tuned. There's a lot coming this month and the next few months, but
true. And if you're in the Discord,
excited.
You'll know about everything first. And there's like things that you want to be a part of. You know what I'm saying? All right, that's it for us. We will see you next week. I hope everyone has a fabulous week, and peace out, ladies and gentlemen.